Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of the Tanks World Podcast. And today's movie we'll be talking about is Trick or Treat. Protomet is back today.
I am? Wow.
Yeah. Don't you remember? You broad kicked Scully right out of your seat.
He deserved it.
Damn right he did.
With that attitude. Take that back about my mom. Yes. And today we are talking about Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat. Yeah. This is an anthology films, kind of, sort of.
In the same vein as Creep Show and Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Albeit without a host for either. But still, it gets across the feel.
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
It's also got interconnecting stories, so...
Yeah, that makes this a lot more interesting. So, instead of one story focusing on just itself, it's all combined in this little universe, or this town that's these people live in.
We've basically got 4.5 full stories, but they are interwoven into each other, so you'll notice characters from one story showing up in another story, and vice versa.
Yep.
For the sake of this video, though, or podcast, we're probably just going to focus on the stories individually and not cut in between them.
Yeah, I think we would get lost like halfway through it if we did that way.
Because there are some stories that like start at certain points but don't get concluded until after other stories are explained, and that's a little confusing. But like I said, we have 4.5 stories for this, and the film actually starts at the end,
Sure
as it turns out.
So, pretty much, we see the movie technically starts off with a little, like, those old-timey trick-or-treat safety little videos. Like, don't go to strangers' houses, etc., etc.
Right?
Then we see, like, how do I say this? Visual, like, we're looking through somebody's eyes and seeing a robot and a spaceman.
This Flash Gordon-esque space hero.
Yep. And the lady wants to just
be done with Halloween and put everything away that night.
She pretty much says she hates Halloween. So she tries...
Her husband tries to convince her to not do it, and also to not be forced to take it down himself.
Yeah.
But she ultimately does agree to take down the stuff herself, but
yeah,
it turns out to be a bad idea.
Well, she does blow at the jack-o'-lantern.
It's still Halloween.
It is still Halloween. So her and her husband or boyfriend or whatever.
Husband, yeah.
And kind of get into a small little argument. Well, he's starting to feel a little more randy compared to she is.
But she just wants to get these Halloween decorations down because her mom's coming tomorrow in the morning, and she doesn't. She compares the Halloween decorations to a crime scene, which really.
Well, there was like hanging arms and.
I get that, but when you combine it with the like stick ghosts,
yeah,
it kind of immediately tells you it's a Halloween decoration.
Yes.
Also, who takes down their Halloween decorations on Halloween? Come on, it's like putting up your Christmas decorations before Halloween.
People do that.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's wrong. And they should feel bad about it. because they're wrong.
They should start doing that stuff after Turkey Day, people. Okay, so she tells her husband to put on the tape.
And he does, but while she's putting away decorations, she winds up getting attacked by a mysterious attacker.
Yep.
And it ends up pretty horribly for her.
Yes,
Her husband soon finds out why it ended up so horribly for her.
I believe she is decapitated and also have
She's been dismembered and shit. Mm-hmm. It does set the tone for this movie as being a fairly gory movie.
Yes.
But one that still has some good storytelling.
Mm-hmm. And then I believe we get
the opening credit sequence that's stylized as comic book panels, which is just showing this series' roots.
Yes,
as being based on Tales from the Crypt and Creepshow.
Yep.
Although Creepshow was never a comic book, but it was based on Tales from the Crypt, so we'll let it slide.
Yeah. Then I believe we girls getting changed into costumes.
This is earlier in the night, mind you. So yes. I suppose we'll start off with the Little Red Riding Hood story.
Yep, Little Red Riding Hood.
So a bunch of girls are in like a costume shop getting changed in preparation for some party that they're going to, and they gotta find dates for them.
And the girls find dates. Well, besides the
one dressed as a Little Red Riding Hood, played by Anna Paquin.
Yes.
Who just can't seem to find a date.
And they just kind of they throw hints out there, but if you don't pay too much attention, you won't get it. Like, Ma said she was always the runt of the litter. But
this is a movie that has a number of references to each of the other stories.
Yes.
Like I said before, characters might pop up in stories that are unrelated to their own individual stories, but it makes it all feel like an interconnected story while still having 4 distinct stories.
Yes.
Well, 4.5 if you count the opening bit, but
yeah,
that's why I said a half earlier.
Then, 2 of the girls, I guess the main girl in this little story, not the main, the sister of Little Red Riding Hood.
He's dressed up like Cinderella, of all things.
Ends up asking out the cashier guy.
Who's just dressed up like an elf or Peter Pan or something.
Yeah, it's one of them.
So it's up. Basically, the older sister is trying to help the younger sister, who's playing Little Red Riding Hood, to get a date for the party, and because she doesn't think that that Red can get a date, because they mention how she's always waiting for somebody to approach her rather than being direct about it herself.
Yeah.
Eventually, the girls part ways and each finding their own dates. While Red finds herself at a Halloween parade where we encounter a pair of individuals who get a bit frisky in one of the out of the way corners.
Yes, in a dark alleyway, they are. Like Protomet just said, they are getting quite frisky. Like, we don't really see any nudity of any kind.
Oh no.
But it could have happened before.
I think they were in the midst of going into it. It was
definitely extreme foreplay, if so.
And super extreme once we discover that the girl has been bitten on the neck.
Yes.
She
And
doesn't initially realize that she's actually bleeding until she realizes, oh shit, vampire.
yep, yes. We apparently have a vampire. And like she tries to run and ask for help, but
But
it's Halloween, people. Everyone's wearing like bloody stuff, and
she gets mistaken as being somebody in costume, so her genuine pleas for help go unanswered. And she gets offed and just positioned by a bunch of stoners.
yep.
They're just hanging around, so nobody.
So she just looks like she's passed out.
So the mysterious masked vampire, who I'm not gonna lie, I actually guessed the identity of because this early on.
Yeah, me too. Like my first time watching it, I'm like, just the jawline looked pretty familiar.
It's a reveal that makes sense even when you're watching the movie, because by this point you've already seen the conclusion of another story.
Yes.
Like I said, these stories interconnect and characters from one will pop up in another and all over the place. So it's it's not that the stories as presented in this movie are told each individually and then we see the connections. It's mostly told chronologically, with some bits being out of chronological order.
Yeah.
So it's not like a Pulp Fiction type
No.
storytelling.
No.
Although I'm not sure what else to compare it to.
No. Yeah, I guess Pulp Fiction would be the closest.
It would be the closest if, if not for the fact that Pulp Fiction is 3 distinct stories
Yes.
that are told that do interconnect but are told separately.
Yeah.
These ones are stories that do interconnect, but they're not told completely separately.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, Little Red does come across the masked vampire, and
let's just say it doesn't go very well for the masked vampire.
Like, there is a bit of a cat and mouse going on
Yeah.
at some point, and it's a tense chase scene until it turns out that the masked man is tossed out of a tree or something.
And the girls and they land into the party, and the vampire is wrapped in Little Red's cape.
He's basically asking for help.
He's like,
because at this point he can't do anything because he's basically paralyzed.
yes.
And it's at this point that we realize that Red is a lot tougher than she let on, as are all the other girls, because as we very, very quickly learn,
They are all of werewolf descent.
Yes. And I do like the transformation from human to werewolf of basically them undressing.
Yes, undressing the actual human skin instead of you just getting all hairy. It's like
it's not American Werewolf in London. It's like they're removing clothes, but their clothes are human flesh.
Yes, just
like the Slitheen from Doctor Who.
Yeah, kinda. It was just funny. Like, Cinderella came over to Red and
helped unzip her back.
Yep,
like not actually unzip, but
I guess made it.
Uses one of her fingernails to basically slice open the flesh.
Yes, and just
in a manner that resembled unzipping the back of a dress, which was very nicely done.
It's very interesting. Like that transformation is,
also, by this point, the masked vampire has been revealed to be a character from one of the other stories. Yes. We'll get to that when we talk about that story.
One of the girls take out his fake vampire teeth.
Yeah, it turns out the masked vampire wasn't actually a vampire.
The
werewolf girls.
They're werewolves.
That is a nice bait and switch.
Oh yes.
Making you think it's a vampire story, only to turn it back around on the Little Red Riding Hood
yes
element. and reveal that's actually a coven of werewolves.
I like how this guy is actually before he technically gets devoured, he looks around and sees that all these men are just dead.
So that's basically why why all these girls who were going to this party were trying to find dates. They wanted to feast.
Yes.
in a bonfire festival.
Yes.
On Halloween night.
then Red, played by Anna Paquin.
Yep.
Her transformation looks pretty interesting because you start to see the snout kind of form.
Yeah, it does vaguely resemble that of American Werewolf in London, but
like
not quite to that visceral degree.
Exactly.
And again, the whole stripping everything off as though we're clothes element.
She is technically like the only one that still has like some flesh on her, but she's not, how I say, like, not as hairy.
Well, that's because she's still mid-transformation.
Exactly. And he gets devoured.
And it cuts to another story.
Yes, and I believe this story cuts to
Well, we'll talk about that one third, since that's basically the third story. But let's double back to the actual first story that's presented in this movie.
Is it the principal?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Halloween, trick or treating. Kids want candy. Some kids are kind of assholes about it, going around breaking pumpkins and just.
Oh, yeah.
We get this one chubby kid who's going around smashing pumpkins.
It's the kid from Bad Santa.
I have never seen that movie,
yep.
so. But he's basically just going around wearing a T-shirt saying, "This is my Halloween costume."
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, okay, he is the older kid that goes, I don't care.
I don't care about dressing up for Halloween, but I still want that candy.
I believe he's technically a bully. Maybe.
It certainly seems like it. He does come across as kind of a jerk.
Yeah, he ends up we don't see it on screen, but he has multiple bags, so I'm guessing he threatened to beat up fellow kids that were dressed up to take the candy.
Yeah.
And, he'd just walk up. I believe he walks up to the houses that have the
candy just out there in front, because not the ones where
take
you would knock on the door. It's just like the candy's already there. Just like, take one piece. Mm-hmm. And he happens to go to one of such houses and basically decides to just take it all, which is when he's caught by the principal.
His principal of his. There's a line that the principal actually says. That's probably not that good for your diabetes. And the kid is kind of heavier set.
Oh yeah, like you can tell that this kid is clearly just in it for the candy to feed himself.
Yes, and so he tells him to sit down, and it looks like he's gonna have a little heart-to-heart, or telling him about.
The principal pulls out a knife.
Oh, it's not for you. It's for the jack-o'-lantern. Oh, mine are all dull.
So he just starts working on a pumpkin while talking to the kid.
He's like, he's talking about like the origins of like Halloween into like Samhain and all that other.
And how it's usually done, used to be done as a way of honoring the spirits of the dead. But now it's just kind of.
It was like. Nobody cares anymore, and he seems sadistic demonic, trying to telling the story, and the kid's just getting nervous. Oh, go ahead, eat it,
So kid eats the candy, and at some point during the conversation, he starts coughing quite a bit.
He goes, "Oh, you forgot to do one of the rules. You didn't check the candy." Kid
starts vomiting. A lot.
Just like, okay, I can take some scenes, but when it comes to regurgitation stuff, it kind of makes me feel a little icky.
And this vomit scene goes on perhaps a little too long.
Just like, whoosh. It was like, I believe first it's some chocolate that's coming back up. And then all of a sudden, I believe it's blood.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Blood and chocolate and whatever else was in the
Yep.
Oh, it's a thick goo.
It is. Okay, so then after he is done ralphing, he just
Oh,
flops
he's not
over.
done,
And,
but he does flop over.
yep, he's like,
The
"Ugh."
principal starts to carry the kid into the house.
And he is struggling. Well, the kid, he's pretty much dead weight now. And have you ever tried to move somebody that's dead weight? It's very difficult.
But the principal, he makes a rookie mistake. He starts pulling the kid into his house with the kid facing him,
Yep.
which results in the kid vomiting on his
Yes.
nice white shirt.
He's like, oh, oh, oh. He's like, and he just, all of a sudden he closes and sets him down, and then all of a sudden, ding dong. All of a sudden, he shuts the light up. We know you're in there, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. He's like, all right.
So he answers the door, and initially the kids scream.
Yeah.
But it turns out to be mock scream because this guy thinks he's just been caught, but then he realizes that the kids are only reacting to his Halloween costume.
Yes. It's
because he's got bloody vomit all over his shirt that is very distinctly red, so they assume that that's his costume and not.
And I believe these kids are, or preteens, I should say, are kids from his school.
They are actually the stars of the third story.
Yes. And he's the girl who's dressed as an angel asked if they could take
one of the guy's pumpkins.
Yep.
For UNICEF, it's a scavenger hunt.
Anything for
a good cause.
Just how he talks is just eerie and weird. I like this guy.
I swear I've seen the actor who played the principal in something else, but I couldn't be bothered to look up what.
Yeah. Then
he does a good job in this.
Okay. Then he gives all the candy to the kids, and all of a sudden there's a sack-headed boy behind all of them. Did you get some? And he's like, oh,
just gives him some.
He's like, see, he did good. He follows one of the rules of Halloween. So that little boy runs off.
And principal, he's just going back to the task of disposing of a corpse.
I believe he goes into his kitchen and opens up a drawer or a cupboard. And he pulls out a big old hatchet, or not a hatchet.
A butcher's knife. It's a butcher's knife, not a hatchet. I was over this I'm pretty sure I was over this in the Deep Red video. Okay. For context, there's this movie called Deep Red. It's Italian, but it did have an English release, and the initial English release was a butchered version that called it the Hatchet Murderers, even though it's a butcher's cleaver that's used in the film, not a hatchet. Side tangent over.
All right. Okay. A butcher's knife.
Cleaver, specifically.
Cleaver, okay. And all of a sudden, then we see him in this backyard.
Dragging this sack over to a tarp-covered hole and dumping it in.
Mm-hmm.
Now he starts burying it.
And then all of a sudden, his neighbor's dog just starts barking at him.
Trying to get under the fence. It's like, oh, shit.
All of a sudden, he takes the shovel and...
severs a finger and tosses it to the dog to distract it. How morbid is that?
Yeah, he's like no. Then the neighbor's like, Spike, you done shitting?
Neighbor is a curmudgeonly old man who is the lead character in the fourth story.
Yes. Then they get to the
neighbor
is asking, what are you doing, burying buddies?
It's like, no, a backed up septic tank, and one of the bodies in the hole starts moving around, and he's
trying to silence.
He's trying to keep it quiet, trying to finish the job with his foot.
Yep. And
the neighbor is like,
get that thing fixed. It smells like a dead whore out here. How would he know what a dead horse smells like? It's beyond me.
Question for the ages.
Yep. Then he was about
But the neighbor goes back inside with his dog.
Mm-hmm. And he's about to finish. The principal's about to finish the job by lifting the shovel up to do a heavy whack. All of a sudden, Daddy!
His kid is shouting at him from his upstairs bedroom window.
He's like, Billy,
be quiet. You're gonna disturb the neighbors.
He's like, why? You're gonna upset the neighbors. And I'm sorry. This kid is annoying. But I get it. He's young. But the thing is, who just shouts out the window?
Like, it kind of comes across as though he doesn't actually care about the kid. He's just putting up with it because the mother's gone from the relationship for some reason. Potentially buried in the backyard, for all we know.
There's a good possibility.
All we know is that he's still got the kid and has to put up with him.
Yes. And then I want the son. He's like, I believe he's in the middle of, like,
he's working on trying to get the thing buried.
Yeah. Daddy, I want to carve the jack-o'-lantern.
Okay, we'll do it later. When I'm done with this, we'll do it.
Can I go to the Halloween parade with you?
No, I've got a date.
You never let me do anything.
You never do anything with me.
It's like, all of a sudden, he's got the job done. He gets in. He's about to enter his house after he buries the bodies. He puts a nice little tree and a gnome next to him. I wonder if that tree's gonna flourish really well.
There have been trees that have been planted atop corpses, so
and
apparently it's good nutrients for a tree.
Then he goes into the house and Billy, I believe the boy's name is.
So they go down into the basement to carve the pumpkin, and while they're doing that,
you need to help me with the eyes.
I know, Billy. And on the way down, the principal grabs one of the knives and holds it behind his back. And we get this sinister intonation that he's going to off the kid down in the basement.
Yep.
And it certainly seems like it once we get to the carving table.
Yep. Because all of a sudden, he grabs a hold of his son's head, looks like it, he's going to swing the knife down, all of a sudden.
And it does look like, I'm pretty sure it does look like he just stabbed the kid. But then we learned that no, the kid's fine. Dad was helping him carve the pumpkin made of a human head.
Yep. Let's make a scary face this time.
All right.
It's like, fucked up.
nice plot twist.
And, I'm guessing it was the headless body in that bag.
Yeah.
And he was having a difficult time trying to push it into the holes.
But there was like another corpse. I'm pretty sure there was one dressed like a clown that was trying to get out or something. Mm-hmm. That's the one that was really giving him trouble while the neighbor was there. That's a nice story. A nice, good murder story. With quite a few bait and switch moments.
Yes. And that's the end of that one.
Yeah. Well, until the Red Riding Hood story plays out.
Yeah.
Because it turns out the masked vampire is the principal from this first story.
Yep. And now we
move on to the third story.
The school bus massacre.
Yes. So the kids from early on in the principal storyline who got a pumpkin from the guy. Mm-hmm. Well, they go meet up with another one of their group as well as a fifth member.
Yes.
They don't really treat with a whole lot of respect.
Yes. She is. They call her.
They use the R word.
Yes, they use the R word, but then they said she's not that. She's an idiot, a savant.
Yes. An idiot savant.
Yes. And
which is
They
a nice.
they get to her house.
It's just covered in jack-o'-lanterns.
Wait, do they? Okay, before they get to their house, they meet up with the
Another guy.
the other guy, and then they go first. They go to a teacher's house that's having
The
a.
teacher is dressed like a sexy cat and is clearly inebriated, and
Oh yeah,
there's clearly like a fun adult party going on at her place.
they are having a furry orgy.
Hot dog and a peg. Let's just put it at that.
Yes.
At least that's how the pirate kid describes
Yes.
it.
That,
Oh, the teacher even offers them a drink.
he's like, okay.
One of the girls is like, sure. It's like,
It's
no.
like, no. Just like, no. It'll be our little secret. All right. The teacher is inebriated bad. Like,
Really drunk.
yep, let's see what the hell I have. I'm just like, be safe. Don't be monsters. Ugh. Then close the door. Then I believe they finally go to.
Also, it turns out they've been collecting jack-o'-lanterns, not for a UNICEF scavenger hunt, but for some other purpose. And they find themselves one short, but once they get to the other girl's house, they
Yes.
ask her to bring one along.
Yep, she like, wow.
She is really into Halloween. Like,
Yes.
wow, her front yard is just festooned with carved pumpkins. She's got great skills.
Yes, and there's okay, they're walking, and I believe the pirate kid asks her, "You must really like Halloween." And she goes, "You mean Samhain?" And then all the different names before Halloween.
She just starts going on a little tangent about the history of Halloween and all that.
And that's interesting too, because it wasn't just called Halloween. It was all these different things. But
I really should pick up the movie, The Halloween Tree. That one is a really good Hanna-Barbera one. I'm trying to remember. I think it was originally a story by, I want to say Ray Bradbury, but I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But he also narrated it, and he considers it his favorite adaptation of one of his works.
Oh, good.
So that is definitely something I should talk about sometime. Very underrated. I used to pick it up all the time when I was a kid.
I should get the Great Pumpkin.
Oh, the Charlie Brown one, yeah. But that just reminded me of that.
And now back to this. They go to a rock quarry.
An abandoned rock quarry.
Yes.
And it's while there that the angel girl decides to start telling the tale of what happened.
Her friend, who I believe is dressed as an alien.
Yeah. Kind of interrupts her and starts revealing plot details. She's like, shut up. Can I tell the story?
Yep, she just tells her off like.
So the story goes is that like 30 years ago there was this special bus that had a bunch of kids that would be taken to a school out like miles away from town, and eventually the parents got fed up with the fact that they had to put up with these kids that they didn't care for, and so they paid off the bus driver to get rid of them.
Fun fact, all the dressed up people on the bus were all mentally challenged people.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's just, and they had I guess they had a blast.
I mean, playing the character.
Yeah.
So
they.
But like the bus driver chained these kids too.
Well, and again, we don't know how bad these kids actually were,
like were these chains present on the bus already, or what? Were they an addition to the bus to perpetuate this crime?
That, or are these kids just out of control and they need to be chained? Who knows?
Well, but the gist is that the guy's he drives them to the quarry checks on their chains, giving them a piece of candy when he finds them.
But the thing is,
What the vampire boy? He wants to go home. He's worried that they went the wrong way.
he's like, wrong way. The vampire boy, while they were driving, was naming off all the streets numbers to the point where I believe it would get to his house, and it turned the opposite way, and he was like, wrong way, wrong way. And then he started freaking out, and he was able to get his...
So while the bus driver was checking on the other kids, he manages to wiggle free and ends up driving the bus over the cliff that's parked in front of...
Yes. I'm curious if he was supposed to just leave them there and have them just, like, starve to death.
I mean, it's possible that he had intended to send the bus over the cliff on its own, but kind of took care of itself before he had a chance to get out.
Yep.
But leaves us wondering, did this really happen? Not.
So
the angel girl, the alien girl, and the
pirate and the skeleton guy.
The skeleton guy, though, the angel girl, alien girl, and pirate skeleton guy.
Well, the other guy that shows up that's more nice towards
the Halloween girl.
Yeah.
The witch girl.
Is, I believe he has like a skull mask. Or
oh yeah, he does wear a skull mask at one point, so I guess he's a skeleton.
Yeah.
Anyway, they take some of the pumpkins down in the elevator, but promise to send the elevator back up with the key.
Yeah.
So that witch girl and pirate girl can...
Pirate boy.
Pirate boy, sorry.
It's okay.
Can take the rest of the pumpkins down, because what they're planning is to set the 8 pumpkins down by the side of the lake to appease the spirits of the dead kids from the bus accident.
Yeah. Then they get down and they all of a sudden the witch girl and pirate boy start seeing jack-o'-lanterns go out.
And screams off in the distance of something bad happening.
And they get to the bottom, and witch girl asks the pirate boy
to stay at the elevator and keep the jack-o'-lanterns lit, because that she believes it'll provide him safety. Well, she goes off to look into what's going on.
So she gets to the lake, and I believe she spots the bus.
Oh yeah, the bus is definitely there, and there are just masks in the in the water nearby.
And then
suddenly she gets attacked by zombies.
She starts running. She falls, loses her glasses. So she does a Velma type situation where she can't really see.
So she has to run blind because she's not going to stop to look for her glasses, which end up getting stepped on anyway. So
then she like falls and hits her head, and
turns out the zombies were just the other 3 kids who had even gotten the pirate boy in on it, because he got in a situation where he had like fake intestines and being attacked, which also scared the witch girl into believing that this is all legit, and they are concerned. But witch girl does manage to regain consciousness, and they do reveal that it was all just a bad joke.
I do like to say though, I believe the one that was looking over her when she opened her eyes and smacked was the angel girl. She deserved to be smacked.
Yeah.
Because I believe this was all her planning to scare the
witch girl.
Do you think she's autistic?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't really think of a word that.
I mean, aside from the one they use in this movie, but it's like one of the few elements of this movie that I don't feel has aged very well.
No. Picking on the...
I mean, it's accurate. I just don't think it's aged very well.
No. Yeah. You know, then all of a sudden, I believe the skeleton boy's name was Schrader. or something.
We're just going with Skeleton Boy.
Skeleton Boy works. And he tries to, like, calm the witch girl down, you know. And then actual zombies start to appear.
And attack them. And
Yeah.
Witch Girl does manage to make it to the elevator while everybody's retreating.
Mm-hmm.
And she takes it up all by herself. Because fuck those guys.
Yes.
What assholes.
The Skeleton Boy apologized, but the rest really didn't. The Angel Girl definitely was like, it was just like a joke.
I was like...
But, you know, the alien girl might have felt sorry because she didn't want anyone to
Yeah,
really
I think everybody except the Angel Girl actually felt bad when this prank ended up going as bad as it did, and they regretted it. But too little, too late, and the Witch Girl makes it back to the surface while everybody else meets a grisly end.
As she's leaving with one jack-o'-lantern still lit in a sewer pipe, we see
The Sackhead Boy from earlier.
yes.
And they just kind of exchange glances.
It's like, what's up?
And then they just
Go
walk off their separate ways.
Yep. And
that brings us to the fourth story.
my,
Which is probably the highlight of the film, I gotta admit.
Mhm.
I mean, for as good as
It's
as the other three stories were, this is the one that is so iconic that Sackhead Boy is the literal poster child for this movie.
Yes.
Everything else is tertiary in the background of this film. So
the
old neighbor from the first story.
yes.
Well, it turns out he's a bit of a curmudgeon who sticks his costume dog on kids just so that he can steal their candy.
Yep.
Because he's a jerk.
But yes, he is quite a jerk, and he sits down in his chair, flipping through the channels. There's different horror movies. I'm very happy to see that it had Scooby-Doo, Zombie Island.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
Yes.
It's kind of weird that they had Haunting at Hill House. I think it's just the Haunting. It's the one Vincent Price movie where his wife fakes her suicide to try and get everybody to think that he's the killer, only for him to get his comeuppance and kill both her and her lover at the climax of the movie. Great film. That's one I'm definitely going to be covering next year.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun. So this old curmudgeon just is watching, and he's like, "There's nothing on." So he reaches into the candy bag.
I think the first thing he's watching is like a Ron Popeil infomercial.
Yeah, like literally, it's like them trying to cut like different knives, cutting this chunk of meat. Which one would go?
No. I think what it was this like syringe thing where you could inject meat with like other foods.
Yeah, that.
So and then the cutting part was just them showing how well it worked out, fully cooked. I can understand the confusion.
Yes.
Because they do quite a bit of cutting.
Yes.
Both in the commercial and between it and the intro bit for the infomercial.
Yes.
So.
So I think it's kind of a funny scene where it's if he opens up a candy bar, takes a bite out of it. Apparently, it's something he really dislikes, and he just sets it.
He spits it out and sets the unfinished bar just aside. It's like, nope, not gonna finish that.
Then all of a sudden, he hears like knocking on the door or something, and he goes outside, and it's where he's talking to the principal guy. Well, he's trying to get the bodies in.
So that's where that comes in.
Yep. He's like,
we forgot the bit where the old guy was walking into his back into his house, and the principal had wished him a happy Halloween, and he was like, "Screw you!"
And then earlier, like
during that first story,
yes, he's the old guy is slightly getting attacked by something
later on in the movie.
Yes, and
the principal just goes, "Screw you," and walks back into his house. That comes into play a little later in this story. But it's a nice bit.
So he goes back in, to the house, and all of a sudden there's like, he looks out the window, and an egg gets chucked at his window.
So he goes out to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
Spots the principal. Tells his dog to get back in. And all that stuff that happened during that story.
Yes.
Makes his way back in. But he's not alone.
No, he's not. But his dog is barking like crazy, so... And a dog senses something, like, you kind of check it out. He goes up to his bedroom, and...
I feel I should mention that at some point he grabbed his shotgun.
Well, yes. Okay.
He grabbed his shotgun before going out to investigate and finding the principal. Okay.
Yes. Then I believe he goes out one more time before he goes upstairs, and there's a whole bunch of jack-o'-lanterns just on his property.
No.
No?
Well, okay, he goes out, checks out his front door, which is now festooned with jack-o'-lanterns. Mm-hmm. Doesn't sit well with him, so he goes back in. And then he hears something upstairs.
Then he grabs his shotgun, I believe.
He's already got his shotgun. He's still got his shotgun. But he goes upstairs. And no point does he think to turn on his light, which left me thinking, wait, does this guy even still have electricity? Oh, wait, he was watching TV. Of course he does. Why doesn't he just turn on a light? Because we see a light bulb in one shot.
Yep.
So it's like... I feel I should have mentioned that his story actually starts with him deciding to also burn some photographs that he's got for some reason.
Then he ends up finally going upstairs, reaching the room, and he's like, a pumpkin just shoots a flame out of it.
And reveals that the whole room is just covered in, scrawled in writing with like trick or treat and shit.
Yep.
It's like, oh shit.
And then all of a sudden, he gets stabbed in the leg.
His Achilles tendon gets attacked.
Yes.
By a kid with the sack boy, head boy, who's wielding a candy bar.
With a razor blade in it.
And the reveal of it too. It's like unwrapping the candy bar to reveal it's got a razor blade in it.
Like, who the hell are you?
So this then leads to a fight scene between this old guy and the pumpkin and the sack-headed boy Sam.
Yep. Yes, the character is named Sam. If you have never seen Trick or Treat, our main little guy is named Sam.
We're never seeing any of the merchandising with him.
Yes, my lord. You just go to a Hot Topic or a Spencer's Gift.
Especially at around the time this movie came out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there was a reason this guy was the poster kid.
Oh, yes.
He was the most marketable part of this movie. Obviously.
Oh, yes. The stories are good, too, but Sam. Then there is a good back and forth between the old man and Sam, but
there's one point where the old man falls on the floor and
he falls down the stairs, and apparently Sam has spreaded his stairs with broken glass
and candy.
Yes.
Candy and broken glass.
He's just like, and his hands are just
the old man's hands just
covered in glass. I'm like, if you have never gotten glass in your hands.
I'm thankful that I've never, but imagining it. Oh,
the pain is terrible. Just, ugh.
At one point, he goes over to his phone to try and dial 911 to try and get some help.
He does get it, and he's trying to talk to the people. And then Sam just simply unplugs it.
Yeah. No, wait, that happens a little later because...
Yeah, that's...
Because he
tries
to unlock his front door to try and escape, which is a bit hard because he's got glass in his hands. So it's literally painful to do anything.
Yes, and he has multiple locks. So.
Because he's an old curmudgeon who doesn't want anybody getting in.
Yes. So Sam just tackles him and is about to... The old man throws Sam off, well, because Sam is just...
During this scuffle, Sam's mask gets torn up.
Yep, and then
revealing that he's got
a pumpkin head. Okay, I brought this up to you yesterday when we watched this movie. Sam should be the pumpkin head because his head's an actual pumpkin. But who would be the person for trick or treat then?
But anyway, the old man ends up shooting Sam in the face.
Yep.
And then reloads his shotgun, pumping another round of buckshot into the boy's chest. And then even taking it further, he's shooting off one of his hands.
Yep.
It's at this point that he goes to the phone to call on one.
It's Sam's hand that unplugs the...
Seriously, the hand is now crawling around like a spider and ends up
like one of the vines from his
sinews
grabs them, has a hold of his mask and just was dragging it to the body. All of a sudden he's like trying to poke Sam, just like
poked him. Hey, Bonnie, wake up.
He wakes up and then all of a sudden just kind of looks and just sticks back on.
The hand kind of goes into position and Sam puts his hand stump there and it basically just reconnects like that.
Yep. And then all of a sudden, he's moving his fingers back and forth and seeing everything works, and all of a sudden throws the sack back on his head.
And the old man is in the corner just like, shit, what the fuck?
And then all of a sudden Sam takes a bite of a pumpkin lollipop.
A huge chunk, like the stereotypical bite mark that's usually left. Except now this
it's
leaves
serrated now.
This is a makeshift knife at this point. Like, holy shit.
Then all of a sudden he's coming to go and stab the old man, and all of a sudden
the old man tries to what is he trying to grab on his
he's trying to grab his whiskey bottle.
Yeah, the whiskey bottle he had. He accidentally knocks the
tray over.
Knocks the side table over.
Yep.
Grabs the bottle and smashes it, but he isn't able to attack the boy because he gets disarmed. And then
literally getting his arm broken.
Yeah. And Sam stabs at him, and he winces.
He's like,
and it's slowly dawning on both of them that the old man's not dead.
He's like,
in fact, that didn't even hurt.
Sam looks at his thing, and he's got he sees the candy bar that the old man didn't finish, and just starts nibbling on it.
Takes a bite out of it, and backs off.
He's like, the old man is just like looking at him, just like Sam just looks at him, and all of a sudden Sam just walks to the door, and the door flies open.
Grabs his sack of candy and just leaves.
Yep. And at this point in time, we get reintroduced to the couple from the beginning of the movie.
Because some amount of time later, after this, the old man ends up answering his door to some trick-or-treaters, and he's all bandaged up from all his wounds.
Yep.
How he managed to bandage himself up, I will never know, but yep. I don't care because of how well done this scene is. Yep. He just kind of reaches into his arm sling to give these kids as much candy as he can stuff into his hand.
Yep.
Because he doesn't want Sam showing back up again.
Yep. Okay, then after that,
we get
the witch girl, we get the wolf girls, and we get the robot girl and her husband.
And it's at that point we get to the beginning of this movie.
Yep. And we get back to the old man where he's about to...
He's seeing how all these stories have suddenly come together, except for the principal guy, but he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
As revealed in the werewolf girl story.
Yeah. We get a look into the fireplace of one of the pictures that are burning. The old man was the bus driver.
Yes, and then he gets another knock at his door for a group of trick-or-treaters who are wanting more than just candy.
Revenge!
And then the movie ends.
Yep.
This was a great movie.
And I really thought it was kind of funny though. Like after the movie was over, I just looked at you and you went over and you went on to Amazon and you bought the movie.
I did not buy the movie,
You put
but
it
I
in
did
the-
look it up. I actually was seeing if I could find any merch.
It's good stuff.
Oh yeah, so this is a movie I'll probably pick up at some
Mhm.
point.
It's
I do not regret watching this movie. There's a reason why this has become a bit of a classic
Mhm.
in the season now.
Yes, I believe it's up there on movies you need to watch on Halloween night.
Oh yeah,
This and John Carpenter's original Halloween.
yeah,
Season of the Witch too, I would have to say.
yes, definitely. There's much watch them.
Mhm. And there's other movies like this too.
I suppose.
Stress.
Halloween Town.
Peanuts, the Great Pumpkin.
But yeah, no, this was a great movie.
Yes, I really recommend people to go out and, if you have not seen it already, give it a watch. It's
I am nodding my head vigorously.
yes.
You can't see that, but I am.
Mhm. Yes. So this, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Mhm. Loved the stories.
Oh yeah, they were all very fun.
The climactic one is like the big story to go for.
Yes.
Watching it, like that's just not even up for debate.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you guys for all listening, and till next time, I'm Tank, and Protomet is here too, and
I am. Wow, I didn't even notice.
no, we didn't. We didn't because you decided to just show up and
Midway
bro
through.
kick Scully right in the head.
I have the strangest feeling of deja vu.
He is unconscious. Wait a minute, he's already dead. He's a skeleton.
Therefore, he can't lose consciousness. Oh God!
RKO. All right, till next time, guys. Bye.